The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network. Through the years, we all remember when we first witnessed a national tragedy.
This is Dan Rather, CBS News in New York, with a special report about what apparently is an explosion of the Space Shuttle Challenger this morning, a minute and 12 seconds into the launch.
We remember the good times and the bad times through either a song, a TV show,
just a good old boy, never meaning no harm,
a monumental sports achievement, or even the smell of a particular food from when we were young.
2 all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun.
Welcome to the show that will take you on a journey through time to relive those iconic moments. Welcome to RTW Rewind, where old school rules. So, without any further delay, let's introduce you to the host of the show, Rad Rob Francois.
Hey guys, welcome back to RTW Rewind. I am your host, Rad Rob Francois. This is RadMania 6, Day 3. And I have a very, very special guest. I grew up watching this man in the 80s and 90s when he was in the WWF then. And back and forth between there and WCW. He was in Global Wrestling Federation on ESPN. Had a very, very long career. Took a hiatus and just decided he wanted to come back, and we're going to find out all about that. I am, of course, are referring to my very special guest, the one and only Mr. Barry Horowitz. Barry, thanks for coming on, brother. Good to see you, man.
Oh, Rob, thank you. It's my pleasure to be here, and yeah, I'm on the Radster show. Yeah, RadMania. I'm ready. I'm jacked. I'm ready to go to the ring.
You look jacked. You look fantastic.
Thanks.
You're doing a good job staying in shape, it appears.
Yeah, in fact, I just changed my whole routine as of, it's been just over, I dropped 10 pounds and I've been training 7 days a week now. And mostly it's 4 hardcore with the weights. And then I do a lot of isometric 3 days out in the sun because where I live for Florida. So it's phenomenal and it's working out. It's good, the diet, the supplementation, and I'm glad I got to lean back on my sports nutrition. I'm a certified sports nutrition, which nobody actually knew from FSU. When I was in pro wrestling, I kept everything kayfabe. It was all about getting to the ring, having a good match, hitting the gyms, going down the road, getting the airplane. No personal. Not going to the movies during the road. I try to treated it like a semi-shoot, like when I was wrestling in high school and college. Right. As far as preparation, I believe it's worked for me. That and accountability, being true to yourself. I'm a big fan of it. I'm my hero.
That's true, especially by your gimmick. You know, the whole pat on the back thing. That was obviously what you were known for, and people still remember that. How'd you come up with that? Was that just a spur of the moment thing, or?
Actually, it was an accidental. It was in an amateur match, and I was leading by 2 points in a conference match, and I patted myself on the back when I jumped up, but it was just a joke. I think I may have seen it on TV. Who knows, a comedian. Right. I really don't recall the exact moment, but I know I got reprimanded and disqualified by a point, and I always said, because my long-range goal was to be a professional wrestler. That was my dream. And like my wife says, not too many people live their real dream.
Right.
Could it have been bigger and longer? Yes, but I'm not griping. I'm still grateful for what I've achieved in my career. So that's what happened. I got reprimanded. I got disqualified. And I said, I'm putting that in the back pocket. And down the road, I'm going to use this to be an unbelievable wrestling heel.
And it worked. I mean, it really worked. What better way to get heat than to just pat yourself on the back and make?
Oh yeah,
I'm better than everybody else.
Yeah, Rob. I think in the last maybe 10 years, maybe more. I've seen two people do it. Number one, it's flattery. Number two, I would never do that. I'm not into the wannabe thing and copying somebody, and I just don't like that. So I don't do stuff like that. But when they see it, they don't think of that wrestler. They're thinking of me.
That's right. That's right. And you went so far as to put it on the back of your gear too, on your ring jacket.
Oh yeah. That was all my idea.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That was a nice little touch.
Yeah. It was really cool.
Because I mean, not a lot of guys went the extra mile, especially when you're considered enhancement talent and weren't considered a mid card or main roster. I mean, you were making the boys look good for so many years, and for someone like you to kind of elevate yourself over guys like Tom Stone or Dusty Wolf and guys like that, like you put the time in.
Well, there's a difference. I mean, in a quick nutshell, a long story, make it short. There's guys that just want to be on TV. You could tell their mannerisms, their body, their work ethic, their work. Okay, they get to tell their friends at the water cooler that they worked with a big superstar on Monday night or something. That's their goal. That wasn't my goal. My goal was to progress. But if you can't progress and I'm still part of my dream, I'm keeping it. Because if I said forget this and just went back to sports nutrition, which I did all right, but nothing pays like professional sports, wrestling money, wrestling or entertainment, nothing. So take what you got that you're gonna, because not everybody could be the lead singer, the rock group. It just doesn't work that way. Otherwise, it'd be boring.
Right.
So really, in my career, I really think they could have transitioned me either way. Could have kept me. Hey, we need this guy to make some guys. You got your people like Brett and Owen Hart. Yeah, I'm going to make them look better. It's just going to enhance the match because we're both good workers. But when you got some kind of gimmick with face paint and shaking top ropes and blows up in 2 seconds, you got to make him look good because he doesn't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch. But that's my job. Nothing personal. I'll do it. Because if I don't do it, somebody else will. And if they don't do it right, he's not going to put asses in the seats.
That's very true. And one of the guys I mentioned a minute ago was Dusty Wolf, and I interviewed him a few years ago, and he was another one of those guys that was a very good wrestler. He was a good mechanic. He had good success outside the WWF, as you did as well, like down in Florida and stuff like that. And before internet, all you had were either the dirt sheets or like the After magazines, and not a lot of people knew that you guys had success in other places unless they actually lived there. But nowadays we have access to all that.
Yeah, wrestling of 20 years ago, the marks, the smart marks, they're all updated on everything. They're treating this like any other thing, soccer, NBA, UFC, and they want to be part of the show. And it's kind of a cool thing to a certain extent. And you can't work these smart marks because then you'll get reverse heat.
Right.
Because they know what's going on.
Yeah.
They don't know. Let's put it this way. We're pulling the backstage curtain up a little bit. We're never letting that whole curtain drop. I refuse to. And by the way, when I introduce myself, Mr. Technical Barry Horowitz, I am a professional wrestler.
That's right. Not a sports entertainer.
No, and double no.
Did that kind of rub you the wrong way? Like when you saw what Vince's vision was and where he wanted to take it, did that? I mean, obviously you guys were going to get paid more, but
not really. It's business. And believe me, if I was told to do it and I'm there, I'm doing what I'm told also.
Yeah.
But if I'm not, and I'm a free agent, I'll do what I want. I'm in business for myself, and I'm not using that for a punchline. I take care of myself, and I also have my manager and co-owner of GTG.com, Good Times Guaranteed live wrestling auction, Richie Sorrentino, king of credit. Yep. But he is my manager and a friend, and it's important to me to keep it that way. And that's just how I feel.
I don't want to go into the details of all the stuff that's been going on this year with
Mhm.
Vince McMahon, but just as far as how he was when you were there, how did he treat you? Did he treat you fair?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I only seen Vince at TVs in Madison Square Garden and pay-per-views.
Okay,
And I would get a hello and I'd say hello to him. If he's busy doing something, he's in his office, which you're not going to get to him. The door's shut. But if I see him, hey Vince, hey Barry, stuff like that. Yeah, everything, nothing. He never bothered me at all.
it's sad that whatever alleged things had happened because honestly, that's literally ruining his reputation and his
You know,
legacy.
I mean, I don't want to get into a whole thing either because I don't know everything,
Right,
and
right.
and I'm not a stooge, and I know certain things, and I don't I don't know how to put it. I know where to put my words, and as far as Vince, I mean, I worked for his dad.
Yep.
I mean, this is Vince's goal, like mine being a professional wrestler dream, and he had this, but it's almost like he thought he was 10 foot tall and bulletproof.
I agree.
It's almost like what goes around comes around in karma, and it's a shame. But I think if you stay that way, it eventually happens. It happens to a lot of people, and it has in the past 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not just
Coaches,
that, but you're right. All forms of sports
all
and
forms of
entertainment.
sports entertainment,
Yeah.
and still goes on to this day. Just nobody's got caught.
Right.
And
Right.
I've never been a believer in that. And I'll tell you something, Rob. I can look at myself every day in the mirror and said, I was trained by the best. I did the best I can to this day.
Right.
And I have nothing, no regrets. I don't have friends that hooked me up in the business, a father, a cousin, nothing. It was all hard friggin' work and kept my mouth shut, listened to people that know what they're talking about pro wrestling, legends. And all of this will be coming out in my book in the next 6 months.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's going to be a
Yeah, I
hell of a
finally
read.
did it. I waited for the moment, and next project on the horizon will be an audio book also.
I love audiobooks.
Yeah.
I've listened to many wrestling audiobooks, and for the
Mhm.
most part, they've been very very good. So yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to yours. That's going to be. Well, I don't want to spoil too much of the of
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I understand. Yeah, we're still working on it, and it's I would say 80% done,
nice.
70% done.
I've had Jim Brunzell and B. Brian Blair on the show as well. They both had books of their own. I know Brian has a couple.
Hmm.
Super nice guys.
Yes,
Um, you were kind of coming in when they were kind of on the way out.
a little bit.
Around.
I wrestled them in tags on TV. I
Mhm.
wrestled both of them in single matches. I wrestled Brian Blair in Florida Championship Wrestling. I wrestled him on the indie scene in Florida. High regards to both of them.
So you go way back then, especially with
Oh
Brian,
yeah,
with you both being
go back
Florida
with
guys.
that. Mike Graham, Eddie Graham, Steve Kern. Uh, these are all people I looked up to. Don Morocco, Bob Orton Jr. These are real technicians, by the way.
Exactly. Yes.
Mhm.
I'm assuming you were a wrestling fan from a kid.
Yeah, I started watching wrestling probably when I was 13 years old
That's
and
about
got
right where
hooked.
I did too. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when I got hooked is here's the thing. Before wrestling, I wanted to be a magician.
Okay.
And not bad for 10 or 11 years old with my sleight of hand and whatnot. And
Mhm.
when I get into something, I get into it. But this wrestling caught me different, because a lot of kids at 13, Rob, that I want to be a doctor, I want to be a NASCAR, driver, I want to be an NBA player. No, I want to be a pro wrestler, and it didn't let go. I mean, through high school and college, it was all about business and getting my foot in the door, and it was hard too.
Yeah.
But kept my mouth shut, persevered. I've been trained by the best. You can call me biased. It's my opinion. But the great Malenko is the best trainer in the universe.
And that was 1978, if I remember correctly.
1979, I was
Okay.
trained by the great Malenko, his sons Jody and Dean, and also Carl von Stronheim, and of course the God Karl Gotch.
Wow. Yeah, Carl.
So
God.
it was paying dues. It was 18 months of nonstop. And I'm so glad if I had to do it again, I would do it again because it paid off. It paid off to build the foundation of my house. The rest of the rooms, the bathroom, the bedroom, the living room, the attic up top was all by traveling and getting polished with greats like Jimmy Valiant, Rufus R. Jones, Sonny Fargo, Johnny Weaver, Roddy Piper, Youngblood, Steamboat, Rotundo. I can go on and on and on with people that impressed me and helped me. They helped me in my career as far as in and out of the ring. And then there was certain people I won't mention. I learned what not to do
Yeah,
to
right.
stay in the squared circle, if you will.
And it is unfortunate that a lot of the boys kind of, I don't know if they just got wrapped up in their own fame or being on the road so many days, taking so many bumps, all the car rides, all the plane rides, and abusing, substances and all that. It's sad. I'll go back and look at event like a Survivor Series '89, and 3/4 of the card they're no longer here. I mean, even referees and announcers. It's
Yeah,
sad.
I could piggyback onto that, Rob. Like 20 years ago, you're doing the ribs and you're doing this and the ha-ha and the gaga, as Chief Jay Strongbow would say.
Yeah.
And, it's cool. I didn't put over any of that stuff. I wasn't scared. I don't want to ruin my dream. Because let me
Right.
tell you something. Totem pole, pecking order, it could end like that. And you
Yeah.
can't do crap about it. Maybe you can get a lawyer. Maybe you could sue. Maybe nowadays you can get away with it. Now it's a different story than 20, 25 years ago. But yeah, all the ribs, all the nonsense. Where are these people now? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you where they are. They're dead. They're in prison. They've killed themselves, or they're successful. They do their meet and greets like I do, save their money, stay in shape, maybe run a school, maybe teach at a school, or just retired.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it in any sport, in my opinion, in my eyes. I didn't do this. I'll never understand. I'm just going to use NFL football players. You go through the Pee Wee League, you do everything, and you're a standout in college. And now you're in the NFL. And on the off season, you're at a nightclub with a gun in your ankle at 4 a.m, and you got a $10 million signing bonus. You did it,
Yeah.
and now you're gone.
Yep. I know.
What did you do? What are you doing? The lights are on, but no one's home. You're not taking this serious. You're not being accountable. You're not having any discipline because it does exist. And if you don't believe me, ask Tom Brady.
That's exactly right. Yeah. No, you're right. Brady, Montana.
Brady,
Uh,
Montana, Dan
yeah.
Marino.
Yeah.
I don't care. Warren Moon. Doug played for the Bucks, and now he's a Hall of Famer for Washington Redskins.
Doug Williams.
Thank you, Doug Williams. There's a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot that blew their career. All this work for nothing.
Right.
What a waste.
I
I'm
know.
not gonna be that guy, Rob.
Right. Right. And again, guys like you and Brunsey and Brian and
Successful.
successful came kind of from that same era and that same mold, and were I not even know if upbringing has anything to do with it, but
I,
would you credit your success and your ethic to your parents?
I think I would. I mean, definitely my upbringing, it was instilled with me. My father was an athlete. He was a boxer. He was on the cover of Ring magazine. A lot of people don't know that he was a middleweight. A lot of people don't know a lot of certain things about me because
Right.
I didn't advertise it in the locker room.
Yeah.
I'm not there for that.
Right.
It's not what that's about. Maybe once in a while in the car or something, people you trust and whatnot, but you don't really have time. You really don't.
Right.
And I'm all about, the discipline, and you got to get some sleep because sometimes you'll leave a show at midnight and you got another show the next night and you got to drive 3-4 hours
Yeah.
or catch another plane, which I have no problem with any of that. If you don't want to do this in pro wrestling, then quit. Nobody's twisting your arm. And all the money you spent on certain things, I won't pick out, but buy yourself some insurance. Don't
Yeah.
blame it on wrestling that your leg got broken or
Right.
your hip or from the bumps. Don't. You knew what you were getting into. Buy some insurance. I did.
Yeah. And that kind of angers me just from a standpoint of, like you said, they knew what they were getting into. So all the talent that went in that class action lawsuit for concussions and stuff, it's just looking for a payday, I guess.
Yeah, I think I had one. I think I've had 2 concussions, semi. Both were accidents. It was taken care of. I think one time I was in White Plains. I had to get an X-ray. If I'm not mistaken, I was telling Tony Gurria there was something wrong, and I think they took care of all of that. And I also I did have great insurance because my neck got injured. I was out 11 months.
Yeah. What year was that when you got hurt?
Good question. I think that was 89.
89. You were doing quite a bit in 89 on
Oh, I was working. That's when I think, if I'm not mistaken, Rob, we would work 2 or 3 weeks and 3 days off, and then double shot weekends.
I was going to ask you about the double shots. Yeah.
I wrestled at noon, and then I wrestled at 8 o'clock, Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
And sometimes taking devastating finishes. So that's 4 in 2 days. Lucky I was young, and I took care of myself.
Who were some of your favorite people to work with in the ring?
Oh, wow.
I'm sure there's plenty.
What's that?
I'm sure there's plenty.
Yeah, there's plenty. There's different big men, and then there's guys like Technical Style. I mean, just off the top of my head, of course, Owen and Brett and his whole family.
Yeah.
Of course, Brady Boone, Ben Jordan, Sam Houston, all the Armstrongs, Tommy Wildfire Rich, Tom Zink, Kurt Hennig.
Yeah, you want to talk about a natural with Kurt Hennig? Holy cow!
Oh yeah, phenomenal.
Yeah,
phenomenal. God, I know I'm missing a lot of people, but I did like working as far as big men and stuff like that. Don Morocco, Bob Orton Jr., Barry Orton. Wow. Just trying to think of course, Mike Graham, of course, Brian, of course, Steve Kern, Brunsey, different, let's see, God, there was, I will say, I noticed on somebody's podcast, correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, and I'm just pointing this out just for giggles here. I've noticed some people will put over some people. It all depends on the pecking order again. I don't play that.
Right.
I call it like it is. And if I don't care, I just don't mention it. But I got to say, one of the best big men workers, big men, I got to give Lex some props. Kevin Nash, definitely. Took care of me, sold their ass off for me too.
Yeah.
That's called respect.
Right.
I mean, it's just a part of the game. Everybody knows it's a work. So what are you worried about? Your ego?
Right.
Well,
I mean, we've heard stories and we've seen some footage of some of the guys taking advantage of the enhancement talent and perhaps being a little bit too rough.
You know what that is? Am I allowed to cuss or no?
Sure.
That's cheap shit right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not cool. This guy's out to get you over. Why would you want to hurt him? Well, what are you doing? You're a tough guy? Well, then go outside, tough guy.
Right.
Just like all these guys, I'm worried about my win-loss record. Don't get me wrong. I care about my career, but at the same time, I'm going to do what I'm told. Now, some guys rebel. They get ixnayed. They get an attitude adjustment. And then some, I don't know how they get away with it, but they get a promotion.
Right.
I don't understand that, and it just perplexes me. I don't know. I just don't understand it.
I mean, there's getting your shit in and trying to make it look good and look real, but then there's also, like I said, taking advantage of guys and
here's the deal. Sometimes guys don't know what they're doing. You got to settle them down,
right?
Politely,
right?
And sometimes things get rough. I mean, I've never had that happen against me because I'm a listener.
Yeah.
You get your stuff in, but here's the secret that some even veterans don't know. The secret is to get the match over. I don't mean hurry up, shower, and get to Denny's. I don't mean that. I mean, if I'm in there with Owen Hart, get his shit over. Owen's going to let me get my stuff over. He respects me, and he knows I could do it. Okay? Then you want to get Earl Hebner over, also the referee. Then you want to get the people over, too. It's not all about me.
Right.
And a lot of people, guys in this business, oh, it's easy. Hip toss, clothesline, boo at the, yell at the people and stuff. How about the psychology? How about working a hold? How about knowing a hold? How about trying to pin the guy and submit him and tap him out? That's the name of the game.
Yep.
It's called wrestling. That's what it says on the marquee outside Madison Square Garden. Professional wrestling tonight.
Do you think the current product is lacking that as far as, number one, they're trying to get everybody on the card, which I do understand, but, not having, quote, squash matches, if you want to use that as a term anymore. Do you think that would play nowadays? Because, back in the day, it was
I don't think
good.
people like that.
Right.
I think they know what's going on, and they go, I'm going to go get some popcorn. And then some people that have no clue, they think that's cool.
Right.
Well, that shows you their attention span if you think that's cool. You know what I think's cool is seeing, I'm just throwing off the top of my head, Brad Armstrong against White Lightning Tim Horner, and they go about 12 minutes of nonstop high spots, wrestling, holds, tell a friggin' story A to Z. Do that in 12 minutes. And further yet, I'll really confuse one of your so-called top guys. I'll call it out there, bro.
Oh, yeah. That's not done anymore for sure. Yeah.
No, and no.
Which is unfortunate because listening, obviously, you've heard the boys talk over the years, listening to the crowd, having them in the palm of your hand, bringing them up and down, starting here, bring them up to the crescendo and pay it off. And that's not nowadays. It's just high spot, high spot, high spot, high spot, high spot.
Yeah, too many because then they know it's choreographed and rehearsed.
Right.
When you go into a high spot that's 7 different moves, 8.
Yeah.
Come on now. Short and sweet. If you got one long one, make it 3 or 4 things. 20 super kicks to the face, you should be mutilated and knocked out. Pile driver off the top, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I know. A lot of these moves that were finishes back in the day are just used as
are false finishes now.
Yeah.
Not good.
The DDT doesn't mean anything anymore.
Let me tell you something about old school, new school. They both prevail.
Right.
If you want to go to a different sport, tackling in the NFL, it's updated, but it's still the same as 1960.
Sure.
Okay. Believe me, a good arm drag, good European uppercut, good elbow, good leg drag, good snap suplex. It's still done the same way. It's just a different, same trailer, different park, Rob.
Right. That's true. No, you're right about that. It's just things that would kill somebody 20 years ago now are just it's just fluff. It's just I personally don't watch week to week anymore. I stopped several years ago because I got tired of my intelligence being insulted as a lifelong fan because it's just not believable anymore.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And it's unfortunate, but so getting back to go ahead, sorry.
No, that's all right. I'm just stretching my neck. I just got out of gym an hour and a half ago.
I gotcha. So getting back to kind of your career when you first started with the WWF, I don't want to say do you regret anything, but were you happy the way things went, or did you wish you had gotten higher up in the card? I know that kind of happened in around 91 or so. You got your push after so many years and coming back from WCW, but were you content at the time?
My answer to that is every time I would go to that gorilla position, sometimes late, sometimes a dark match, sometimes at the end of the night, I'm ready. That's what I get paid for. You know how many times I've went up there and Gorilla Monsoon, a.k.a. Gino, would say, Barry, your match is canceled. Thank you, sir. I'm not going to take a temper tantrum. You got your little office around there, and they're going to see that. Yeah. First of all, I don't do that. It's unprofessional. I'm getting paid big money to put my boots on and fulfill my dream. I look at it, well, there's one night that saved my body a little bit from hip tossing and taking slams. Do I regret? No. What are you going to do?
Right.
But I said, I am going up to that gorilla position, TV after TV after one of these days it's going to happen. And it did. And it did.
Whose idea was it, do you know, to give you that run?
You know, I don't know. This is allegedly. I don't know the particulars of this story, but I had a match with Skip at the Bradley Center in Milwaukee. I guess it was reported back to the office that it was good, but I'm not putting myself over. Well, I'm the only one who will put myself over, but most of my matches I thought were pretty darn good. Maybe they saw something, maybe something was told. Maybe I don't know the whole story. I heard that Blackjack Lanza reported it back to the office. I came into a TV, and I think it was Wilkesboro or College Park, something in the Northeast area. I remember it was cold. It was a TV, and I was told that they're going to do something with me. Keep your mouth shut, caveman. I thought it was a rib, but I was always taught, go along with the rib. It's not a big deal. What's happening, you know?
Sure,
Well, who cares?
Right.
Okay. So the cafeteria was wide open and it was empty, and then it was just tables and chairs, and I was it was out in the open, and I was told to sit down with Pat Patterson and talk to him. He laid out everything. He says, we don't know how this is going to go, Barry, but you get this win, and if it goes good, we'll see what happens. Well, it did go good because I was on every friggin' pay-per-view that year.
Right.
I was in Anaheim for WrestleMania. I was on the celebrity softball team. I shot a commercial for Karate Fighters with Hakushi. I was in your house matches. I was the fourth last guy in the Royal Rumble. Me, Owen, Shawn Michaels. I can't think of every match. I wasn't a highlight at the WrestleMania. I think I worked with Owen first match or a dark match in Madison Square Garden. That's the first time I met one of my idols was Burt Reynolds, because he went to FSU, and hell of a man, hell of an athlete.
Yeah.
And so I was involved in a lot of stuff, doing promos and interviews, and I was happy. I mean, I was at the Slammies. I was up for a nomination, Shocker of the Year. I mean, and then captain of my team of Survivor Series. I mean, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I think if I had to pick anything out of that moment, I think I don't see why they couldn't prolong me for another year.
Right.
And if I had heat, which I'd like to know the heat, tell me to my face. Oh, you're doing something wrong. I seen guys that did stuff wrong and they got rewarded. I mean, you'd have to really do something really stupid to get fired. Or some of these guys will walk out. I'm not putting next guy over. Oh, okay. See, what they need to do is don't worry about your pro career. If you're that tough and worried about that career, maybe you should call Dana White up and ask him, hey, can I get a UFC tryout? And you go in there with Brock for 10 seconds and you get your ass knocked out.
Right.
Then you beg Vince or whoever's in charge, can I have my job back?
You know, I would have loved to see guys like, Haku be in the UFC if he was in this day and age.
What's that now?
I'd love to see Haku in the UFC if he was in his prime, because the legendary stories of him being, the toughest, one of the toughest guys, if not the toughest. It'd be kind of cool if he had the opportunity to do that in his prime.
Let me clarify this on my personal opinion.
Okay.
The first Samoans I ever met was Afa and Sika back in 81. They're the kings.
Yeah.
They're the deal. They're the gatekeepers in my eyes. And then I meet, of course, Rikishi and Barbarian and Haku and Samu, and great athletes, great wrestlers. If you notice, they always keep them in the WWF, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. And a pleasure to work with. And they don't like prima donnas. And they don't like guys that can't work. They liked me.
Right. That's good. No, that says a lot about you.
I got along with everybody.
Yeah.
Great guys, good in the gym, good to travel with. Haku, I just saw him on a couple of meet and greets in the last 6 months. He's a great guy. I mean, he's had a heck of a career.
Was he as tough,
Everybody.
or is he as tough as they say?
Well, let's put it this way. I've never witnessed anything
Okay.
verbally, or I've just heard stories.
Right.
I've heard some major stories about Haku and Barbarian.
Yeah.
So in pro wrestling, Rob, when you hear a story 3 times, maybe 4, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. They always say, what, telephone, telegraph, telewrestler, the word.
You got that right. That was my next one. Quit stealing my crap, Rob.
Sorry, bro. Sorry.
Next, you're going to pat yourself on the back.
No, I won't. I won't. That's gimmick infringement. I'll never do that.
That's right.
You mentioned Hakushi. I love the stuff you did with him, trying to Americanize him. There was whose idea was that? That was so fun to watch.
A lot of this stuff, I'm not in the war room.
I got you.
I'm told. I'm pulled to the side, and maybe Pat Patterson is directing it, or maybe never Vince. It was Pat, maybe Jerry Briscoe.
Bruce Pritchard.
What's that?
Was Pritchard producing?
I don't remember him saying anything to.
Okay.
No, I don't remember.
Okay.
I do remember him being my manager in Global.
That's right.
That's when I won the Global Light Heavyweight title from Jerry Lynn.
Yep, that's right. So, but yeah, how cool was it to work with a guy like Hakushi? Was there any language barrier? Did he actually speak English?
No, yeah, a little bit, just a little bit. He loved the American way. I mean, he was shopping always, buying stuff from New York and jackets and this and that and food. And I never had a problem when he's very quiet. I liked working with him. I liked his work. I loved his gimmick.
Yeah, I mean, he's great in the ring. He's absolutely
great.
Smooth. Yeah.
Well, that's because he's from where it all started, the Japanese.
Yeah.
In my eyes, I think this is just me, once again, personal opinion, and I wouldn't mind having this deal. I got to go to Japan for All Japan for the Giant Baba, three tours. I think everybody should be broken in Japan. Then you learn not only bumps, psychology, the ring, getting in shape, but you learn how to be a professional outside the ring also, and paying your dues and respecting your craft and your peers.
Yeah. You don't see them, in the sheets doing, any shenanigans or anything like that. I mean, you never hear anything of.
They don't play that.
Yeah, they
don't play that crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. No, you're right.
So. I applaud it. Applaud it. Well, wait, you're going to play this crap in the NBA, the NFL? Oh, yeah, you're going to have little ha-ha moments and jokes. Sure. But when I'm talking about serious game planning, you ribbing at the Super Bowl? You ribbing at playoffs? Are you ribbing in National Hockey League? No, man. You'll get you'll get that contract torn up.
Yes. Yeah, no, I get it. I hate using the term carny, but I mean, it's honestly the roots. I mean, and it's been that way for so many years.
Well, here's the deal. That's the difference between professional wrestling. If you're a carny wrestler, a backyard wrestler, I'm not knocking it. You got to start somewhere, this, and that. I've paid my dues. I've wrestled in bars, but I was paying my dues. It didn't stay that way. Right. If you're just doing that, and I've seen it on YouTube, the guy looks about 120 pounds. He's using big time finishes, makeshift ring, 30 people out there, but that they want it that way. I'm not even about that. I'll go through that area.
Right.
To pay my dues, to climb the ladder. I got 2 songs that I relate to my career. And it is The Dance by Garth Brooks and The Climb by Miley Cyrus. You listen to those songs, and it's all about paying your dues and climbing that ladder.
True. Those and both great songs. I mean, it's worked out for some people. Obviously, the Hardy Boys were kind of in that backyard generation that when they first started and trained themselves and were able to get contracts.
Right. It does happen. I'm not knocking it. It does happen. I did mine in a different way. Actually, I did it the way I wanted to do it. It worked out better for me because Now that I see other people get trained and how they're trained and who trained them, I don't know. I'm not. I mean, a guy that's been around for 5 years and he's training somebody, there's no accountability there. He's never been nowhere.
Right.
Seriously.
Right. Yeah. No, I get it. I absolutely get it. No, I know where you're going with that.
It's all about building that foundation, training, and then the secret of the rest of the career is getting polished.
Yeah. Yeah. And going on the road and traveling with the vets and just listening and
Wrestling somebody different every night, going to different states, learning stuff outside the ring. You know, it's just, and you got to circle. I always surrounded myself with people like me, or I traveled alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm telling you something, I'm going to be with one of these guys, and they're going to goof up, and I'm going to go down by association. So, hey, how did Barry's dream? Well, he was in a bar and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
People are laughing at you. They're not laughing at me now. And if they are, they're jealous of me. I've paid my dues.
Yeah.
I've been around. I've been trained by the best. And I've tried to work my 150% every friggin' night, even with 104 temperature in Fargo, North Dakota, working against Lanny Poffo.
You don't talk a guy that was smooth in the ring as well. That's, I mean, him and his brother, and their dad, really. You know, the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Both, or all three of them, were fantastic in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Did you get to wrestle Randy?
I've wrestled Randy, if I'm not mistaken, Monday Night Raw, Huntsville, Alabama on TV, had a pretty decent match. That's all I can recall.
Obviously, he was, you know, he took care of you. I mean,
he was fine.
Yeah.
No problem. See, like Dr. Death Steve Williams said, rest in peace, pro wrestling isn't ballet. If it was, everybody be a pro wrestler.
Right.
Now, if you're going to get stiffed and this, it's part of the thing. If it's done on purpose and somebody's knocking your teeth out or gives you a heart attack, that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's not the object. Anybody could go out there and throw a shooting clothesline. You can see that in the back. Go to Chili's on a Friday night in the back kitchen there, and somebody's fighting. Well, that's not an art, but you give a fancy Northern Light suplex or a belly to belly, or a German, or a beautiful Jack Briscoe arm drag, or work the leg different than just the figure four or whatnot, different little things. People at ringside and even the cheap seats are going to go, this is a trained professional athlete. Yeah. He is a wrestler. He's wrestling. He's not chopping meat and telling the people to go F themselves.
Right.
That's cheap heat, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, you'll hear stories from like Mick Foley, who was in there with the Bulldogs, and I think Dynamite was rough with him.
Really?
Yeah, he put that. I believe he put that in his first book.
Well, I worked with them in a tag. All the Ha-Ha and Gaga started. Normally, I wouldn't do too much. I'd do with Davey Boy, but when it came to that finish, he was listening to me, and he stayed. No jokes. I got to give him credit for that. I don't forget stuff like that. And I don't forget Dynamite coming up to me one time. I don't know where it was, house show TV. He goes, we like you. You're not a stooge. He says, we ribbed you and stuff. He says, we're just joking around, but you never told on us. I said, I don't care. I'm not, you didn't beat me. You know, you're taking money or harming my family. If win, lose, or draw, or I get embarrassed, I'm going.
Right.
I'm going to lay down. I'm going to do something. I don't know what I'm going to do, but you're not going to bully me. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to pick and choose. You got to watch the bullying, because then you could speak up and then you get told on, and you got to be careful even with that.
True. Obviously that happened to Michaels and Jannetty, you know, in a bar one time, and, you know, somebody broke a bottle on their head, and I think Sean ended up like crushing the glass and eating or whatever, and people got into a fight, and they all blamed it on them. And the next minute they're gone. It's like,
maybe you shouldn't be in the bar.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where business was done, brother. I mean, that's what all the boys would say back in the day. But
not I.
Were you looked at differently because of that?
Oh, probably I was. Hey, and I would just tell them I don't drink, or I'll see you later.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be that guy. you find me at 3 a.m. tied to a palm tree naked with my eyebrow shaved.
That worked for Ric Flair.
That's not it.
Right.
I don't mind you goofing around or something,
No.
but no, I'm not into that. I don't put over stuff like that. And I don't need people to put me over. I'll put myself over.
Right.
Heck with it.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I don't have time for these idiotic games, especially
Yeah.
at this age. I'm still all about business.
And you should be, honestly.
And anybody who doesn't hire me as an whatever you call it, producer, I call it agent or coach, you're a fool. You're missing the boat on me. Am I putting myself over? I know what I mean.
Sure.
I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. I could back it up as far as teaching. I could be an extra flavor to your stew. I don't want to take over head chef. I don't want that. I just want to be part of it.
Yeah.
Your loss. Your loss.
Right.
No, it is. It's their loss.
Yeah, no, absolutely right.
I didn't know, Rob, I need a tryout.
Right.
I thought my resume speaks for itself. If you don't know my resume, maybe you should watch YouTube for 20 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Who knows? Maybe Triple H will give you that call one day.
I doubt it very much.
Were you in good graces with the family when you left?
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
you always did your job and nobody ever complained about you, right?
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I only met Shane a few times, never met Stephanie.
Mhm.
Of course, Vince and Triple H. I was his first or second match when they brought him in as Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And you were Bob Holly's first match if I recall.
You're
too.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's-
I was a lot of people's first match.
And who better to get them over and kind of walk them through.
I appreciate that. It's a compliment too. They gotta have somebody, because you have an opening crappy match. Oh my God. That's bad. When you sign a contract and you want to, but they also know what's going on.
Right. Did they tend to put guys that they knew they were going to push with you, and like you and Brawler and guys like that?
I think so. I really do think so. I mean, yeah, I felt it. I witnessed it multiple times. Yeah.
Brawler was another one that was on your level of guys that were better than the other enhancement.
I'm not going to say he was on my level. I'm sorry.
Okay, well that's fair. Okay, well you both got pushes.
I'm just being honest.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I'm not the greatest in the world, nothing like that. But
right.
when I hear stuff and I'm not under contract no more and I can defend myself, I'm going for it.
That's
night
fair.
and day as far as level.
Fair. That's fair. Let's just say you both got pushes.
Yeah.
Over the other guys. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And you tagged with him several times.
Yes, I have.
Well.
Yeah.
Did you have a good relationship with Steve?
It was okay. Really just business. I didn't hang out with him. Drove with him a few times, and then I had to end that. I just like driving alone and going to certain places. I like doing certain things my way.
I hear you. I'm the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. There's only a few people that were almost the same as me, and I would drive with them.
Who are your closest friends in your career?
I was always told if you want a friend in the wrestling business to buy a dog.
Okay.
So
that's good advice, actually.
Yeah. I did travel with Barry Darso, my type of guy. John Nord wasn't bad. Nails wasn't bad. I can't think of a lot of guys I really drove with back in the day. I got one for you when I first started. I was 20 years old, just working part-time for Vince Sr. I rode with Jose, Matt Rivera, and Baron Cicluna. How about that?
That's a heck of a car ride.
Yeah. Oh, it was great.
Who did all
Always
the talking?
on time, stopped and ate. No gaga, especially with the Baron. And Matt was cool. I like Matt Rivera. And let me tell you something. Matt Rivera, Jose Estrada, Johnny Rods, supreme workers.
Sure.
Supreme guys. Technicians.
Yep.
Great guys.
Barry Darso, you mentioned, was another one that could adapt to anything, could play any character.
His gimmicks were cool. Oh, great guy. Unbelievable power lifter.
Something about the Minnesota guys, man. Those Minnesota guys.
Oh, Minnesota guys.
Seriously.
I want to move to Minnesota and drink that water.
Right? No kidding, right? I mean, it's amazing how many great wrestlers came from that era.
Eddie Sharkey to trainer of champions, and look who's come out of there.
Yeah.
Ken Patera, Rick Rude, the Road Warriors, the couple of Russian gimmicks that, of course,
Nikita Koloff.
Nikita. Yeah. There was another one, I forgot what happened. Of course, Brunzell. A lot of, Lenny Lane,
Hennig.
Greg Gagne, and so forth.
Yeah.
My whole career, first time I ever talked to Greg Gagne was a year ago.
Really?
Over the phone.
No kidding.
And then I was at a huge NWA meet and greet last May in St. Louis. We're across from the room. I'm telling you, Rob, it was so busy, I could never got to say hello to him. And I was there for like 2 days and in that room for at least 5 hours.
Yeah.
That's how busy it was.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was good.
It's great for the business.
Really,
It's great for the business, and it's great for you guys too. You can still do that.
Oh yeah, and I treat my fans. I treat them good. I mean, they're fans and they're respectful and they remember stuff. You always get your one wise guy.
Yeah, I've met a few. Sometimes they say, you don't want to meet your heroes, but
yeah,
look, anybody has a bad.
Rob, these people are the same people that get lost in a phone booth.
That's true. That's true. And some of them could just be having bad days, and you just caught them at a bad time, or
that's true.
Their wife, they're having trouble being on the road so long. And I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I understand.
I get it, but when you're not going to see that person for probably the rest of your life, take 2 minutes to be kind to them. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Unless you're kayfabe and you're in character, that's fine. I get that if you want to play it that way, but I've met plenty of guys that were super nice. I met the Nasty Boys were nice to me as a kid. Hacksaw, Jake the Snake.
Oh, good people.
Hacksaw's really. I love Hacksaw. He's
great. I just saw him in December at a meet and greet in Ocala, Florida. First time I've seen him in a while, and we didn't get to talk that much, but when we did, it was sincere.
Yeah. I mean, he's literally, he's a genuinely nice guy. From
he is. He is.
Yep.
Let me tell you something. I worked with him in his prime.
Yeah.
When he was, really look boom. And
huge. Guy's a huge guy.
Nice guy. Yeah. Easy matches. I call those matches night offs.
Right. Yeah, he's such a pro, even though he wasn't.
Exactly.
He didn't have to be the technical guy, just like Hogan.
No, he didn't. You can't have 1,000 technical wrestlers. You can't have. You see what I'm getting? You can't have 1,000 masked wrestlers.
Yeah.
It's got to be. It's like going to a nice restaurant. It has 4 pages of menu. It can't be all burger, steak, and chicken. What else? Don't you have something? See what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, variety is the spice of life.
You look at Hogan, wrestling chain wrestling in Japan. He came here to the States. He didn't have to.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
I've seen it too with Muda and a couple other guys, and he comes here and he did what he had to do to get over, and it worked.
I wrestled Muda before he was Muda.
No kidding.
They were training him in Tampa. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I worked with him in Sarasota, Florida. Oh my God, I cannot believe. I always remember my buildings, always, and I'm forgetting this one. Hopefully, it'll come to me by the time we're done. And it was a staple for Florida Championship Wrestling house show, normally a Saturday night. Let me think. Sarasota, Robarts Arena.
Good job.
I think it's still there. And I'm in 3rd or 4th match against the White Ninja. Kept his mask on him because they were grooming the Great Muta.
That's pretty
Worked
awesome.
with him, I think, once. Now, here's something ironic. I go to a meet and greet in Baltimore, Maryland. Let's just say, for argument's sake, 4 or 5 years ago for AEW.
Okay.
I'm there. I'm in the lobby. Somebody says, that's the Great Muta. I have not seen him since Sarasota. He's like 25 years old.
Right.
Now he's I don't know if he's 50, 60, or 70. And he's walking around, and out of respect, I say hello to him. He's Japanese. He had no idea who I was.
Wow.
No, I mean, I shook his hand. He He just thought I was some guy or some. He did not remember. Now he probably hasn't seen me in 30 years, if not longer.
True.
And
true, but you're Barry freaking Horowitz. You know,
I don't know. Sometimes that and 10 cents will get you coffee. I don't know.
Not anymore.
So, but anyway, yeah, that's the last time, and I'm pretty sure that was him, and it was weird. I didn't remember what he looked like. I remember what he looked like when he had the long black gi pants,
right,
and short black hair.
Yeah,
but that's all. I mean, he's an icon in Japan.
Definitely, he had a pretty good little career there, and he had a pretty good run in WCW.
How old would you say he is, Rob? Right now,
I'm pretty sure he's. I want to say he's in his early 60s. I can pull.
That's what I'm thinking.
Real quick, great.
I saw him walking around. Somebody said something, so I just went up. Either I went up to him or I bumped into him. And I said, "Hey, I don't even think I got to say Bear. Maybe I did. It didn't compute."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, some guys don't remember you, just don't remember you. And then some have some issues.
Right.
No, I mean, they forgot, they forget, or
sure.
you just don't know it.
Yeah, no, sure. Right.
I don't know what's going on.
Google says he's 61. So yeah, that's kind of where, that's kind of where. And you're almost 60, you're going to be 65 this year, or pretty soon, right?
I'll be 65 next week.
Well, happy early birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate
You're welcome. And there's still guys that try to work when they're your age, but aren't as in good shape as you are. But you
I'm done. I wrestled a year ago on Impact against Johnny Swinger. My only issue is my knee. I limp.
Yeah.
I have two issues here. I could pull off. I'm not going to pull off the match I did with Owen or Sam Houston when I was 20, 30, 40.
Right.
I don't need to. People remember. They want to see some fancy stuff and pat myself on the back. Okay, I think it's better just to look good and wave at them. But at the other hand, I'm seeing guys that can't lace my boots and can't even throw a punch, and they're getting a payday. And I go, wait a minute. I want part of that pie too.
That's right.
But then, and believe me, I'm always in high gear. I'm always disciplined. I'm always going, I'm always going for the gusto and try to finish first always. And I still keep it that way. Some of it diminishes. You just can't help it. That's life. Just like your body. No matter what you do, even if you're on certain things, it just, you know what I'm saying? So I said, and then somebody gave me an idea. We'll wrestle in tag matches. Well, I may still do that, maybe. But right now, my biggest thing is I love the meet and greets. I love the platforms that I'm on. I mean, I'm doing really well on Cameo and ProWrestlingTees.com, and of course GGG.com, and of course YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah.
So, and then all the outlets. If you go to AEW, you go to Impact, you go to WCW, I'm on all of that. So my biggest thing before my career ended, I would love to be a coach because I have a passion for it. I love teaching, and I think I would teach the Malenko way.
Which, I mean, you can't go wrong with that at all. I mean, that's you don't find that anymore. I mean, it's either
anybody listening to this, if you don't realize what Malenko's did, watch some YouTubes of the great Malenko, but better yet, watch his sons in tag matches, especially against the Bulldogs in Japan. It's time to go to school, if you know what I mean. And you don't want to mess with Jody Malenko. He's a shooter, he's a hooker, and he's darn the next best thing to Carl Gotch.
Yeah, yeah. Dean was pretty smooth as well. I used to love watching him in WCW. You know, the cruiserweights were fun to watch at that time.
Yeah.
Was there a huge difference between WWF and WCW when you left and came back? Obviously, the production was maybe a little bit higher in
I think WWF was always more structured, more professionalism. Certain people that he had in charge there, you're not going to agree with everything, but I definitely didn't agree a lot who was in charge of WCW. You can't even say hello to me or, hey, thanks for this contract or this or that, and you blow me off because I'm not in your clique. I don't have time for that. Where are they now?
It was a revolving door. Yeah. No, right. No, you're right. It was a revolving door of management around there, for several years. So you didn't
And
always know
that's
who.
why
Yeah,
they're gone.
that's right.
You don't
You
believe
didn't.
me? Ask Ted Turner.
Yeah. No, true. I mean, you just never knew who was in charge around there.
I wanted to stay. I had a great deal there.
Mhm.
I wanted to stay. Rings were awesome.
Yeah.
I liked where they traveled. I liked everything. I loved going to. I like going to Universal Studios, 45 minutes from my house. It's
That's true.
great. It was a
Yeah.
great setup.
Yeah.
People loved it.
Was Bischoff in charge during that time? To your
Who?
knowledge, Eric Bischoff, was he in charge during that time?
Yeah.
Any interactions you remember with him?
No.
None, huh?
No.
Well, see, that shows you.
Mhm.
That tells you a lot.
Yeah.
As we wrap it up
Claim
here,
to
Barry.
fame his claim to fame is being on the mic at AAW.
Yeah.
I got an interview for you.
Well,
Whatever.
hey, I mean, you got to give him credit. He worked everybody. I mean, he.
Very successful. Did a lot of different things. Just maybe people skills and social skills and common sense could be a little bit better than 9 years of college.
Yeah, yeah, you're right about that, brother. Um, what made you take that period of time off between? Oh God, I'm trying to think. Was it 2011? I believe
Yeah, yeah.
in
Well,
22.
I got tired of the indies.
Mm-hmm.
They're dicking around. I don't have time for that. Granted, I'll go with the flow,
Yeah.
but I'm into professionalism. It got me places.
Right.
It helped me. You're a goof and you're starting, you're done. You're going home. And if you can't wrestle and you go to Japan, you're on a flight the next day home too.
Right.
So I relied on my sports nutrition, and I did that for about 12 years. I was part of a business. I was part owner, and it was starting to decline, and I was starting to get I was still doing meet and greets and
Mhm.
teaching a little bit of wrestling. I'm doing seminars. That's another thing I do. I normally do a 3 to 4 hour seminar for if a promoter flies me in for his group. If he's got
Yeah.
20 guys, I'm teaching. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. But I got tired of that. I saw this business was declining. I did what I can with it, my part, made my money, and I got out of it. And 4 years later, it folded. I got
Yeah.
out at the right time
Yes, you did.
and went back to wrestling, concentrated more on my gym ethics and whatnot. Always did, but amped it up more.
Right.
And then I've been doing the meet and greets. I've been doing podcasts. I've been doing private phone interviews, just interviews, my cameos, just a bunch of different little things that there's always a place for somebody.
Sure.
I think so. I think as long as you're dependable, you're professional, and you look decent. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Well, you still
I'm
got it.
sure there's
Yeah.
I don't want to name names, but
Of course.
there's some people that just I mean, maybe back then you were good. I mean, you can't be showing up to the meet and greet table and you're 60 and you look 90,
Right. Right.
puffing on a cigarette, watching your phone. I just don't think it's good.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, they think they can rest on their laurels, but and in some ways they can because the fans are always going to be nostalgic towards the older guys, and
To a certain extent.
yeah. But I
Yeah.
do understand what you mean. I've seen them. I won't name names either, but I mean, you know who they are. But at least they're still able to get a payday, which I mean, it's what it's all about, right? I mean, you don't have any.
Of course.
Yep. No union, no insurance unless you paid for it yourself. I mean, it was just, if you didn't save your money like you and Owen and Foley and a lot of guys that were
Yep.
smart about it,
Yep.
you end up like, some of the guys.
I remember an old timer telling me, and I forgot who it was, I'm not going to take bumps forever. It's not how much you make, kid. It's how much you save, said
That's right.
Johnny Weaver.
That's right. Yeah.
Fargo.
Yep. You hear guys like Jake Roberts who said, God, if I would have just saved a quarter of the money that I had back then instead of buying all these houses and cars and all that, he said,
My comments about Jake, I've only traveled with him once or twice. And I learned from Jake
Mhm.
about pro wrestling. he was, I remember when I worked for Crockett Promotions, Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling in Charlotte. I remember they had a ring set up in the stadium because the Crockett's owned that stadium.
Yep.
And it was a ring, and it was in the blazing sun. And I was told to be there, and somebody else, and Jake's holding class a little bit. And I learned, if you learned a couple things, I learned a couple things, but two things that are cemented in my mind was an unbelievable leg hold that Jake did. And I incorporated into my leg holds because I love working the leg. Of course, I work the leg, the arm, the back, and the neck. I'm a versatile worker. I'm not complacent, and I don't want to get complacent, and I don't want to be known for the guy that does 5 holds, 5 moves.
Right.
You know, only certain people can get away with that because that's all they want to see. See what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
So I learned that, and also to take the perfect body slam.
Really? From Jake?
Yeah. So I learned that from Jake, and I see him and, here and there. It's very quick, though, because he's at a table, I'm at a table. I don't ignore the fans. We're not there to meet and greet with fellow wrestlers. We're there to meet and greet for the paying customers.
Right. But
do that on your own time. It's rude, and the poor fan doesn't want to interrupt you. They're scared. Yeah. It shouldn't be that way. I don't make it that way either.
And that's good.
How many times I've been at meet and greets, I've held my urine for 5 hours.
That's a pro.
I don't want to walk away from the table.
Yeah.
It's business. Hey, where's he at? Unless I could be back in 30 seconds to a minute, even 2 minutes, and it's it's not far up the stairs or whatever.
You're still a pro, Barry.
They pay to be there.
That's right. That's right. Thankfully Jake has got himself out of all that, and he looks great now. He's doing great.
Yeah. He does.
Dallas helped him out, and it's
I've seen him on a few interviews. Yep.
But man, if he would have stayed straight all them years, who knows what he could have done. I mean, he was so good. I mean, his mind
for the wrestling business. And I'll tell you who else I like is and I just saw her last year. She's really cool. Is Rockin' Robin.
Yeah, his sister. Yeah. I'm surprised she didn't go. Well, wrong time. Obviously, women's wrestling wasn't huge back then. I mean,
good worker, good name, but she's a smart cookie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's doing well. She's doing very well. She's very smart, takes care of herself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's on the straight and narrow. You could tell when you're talking to somebody and looking at their facial body language, their eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's cool. She's real cool.
That's good to hear. And Sam obviously was great in the ring as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. He's a great baby face. I like working with Sam.
He was.
I had no problem with Sam. It wasn't pulling teeth with him or working with him. It was fun, and let's have a wrestling match.
Yeah. I mean,
let's get each other over.
I wonder what stopped him from getting a push, because he was just.
I don't know.
He was just great. Yeah.
I question that to myself sometimes, but I don't rack my brain about it, Rob. But
yeah,
I can understand if I did all the opposite of certain guys that do, showing up late, failing drug tests, look like crap, can't work.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I understand you're going to get reprimanded or get let loose, and then you get promoted. I'll never understand it. I don't know. Maybe I'm too straight.
Maybe because you didn't politic and kiss anyone's ass and work your way up to the top.
Just did what I was told, work my ass off. That's what And
look, if you're happy with that, and you know that your integrity was never compromised, and then that's all you need, right? I mean, people still know who you are, and people know that what you did. Yeah,
because hey, let me tell you something, Rob. I may not be famous, but I'm friggin' known.
That's right. That's a good way to end the show. Let everybody know where they can find you. If again, you mentioned your plugs, whatever you want to plug, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I want to give you props to your show, and you're conducting such a professional interview. I really liked it. I hope I can come back for more, because this just flew by. I right off the top of my head, I got to give a big shout out, and I've only met him 2 or 3 times, maybe spoke to him in a nutrition store once. Stevie Richards,
yes,
for putting over his podcast show and using me 2 or 3 times for actual direction on how to do things. And the guy, he's got nowhere. He's telling the truth, because I'm not super rich and I can't do nothing for him. I haven't seen the guy in probably over 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's because most guys, I'm not going to do that with him, or I don't like his name, or I don't like him. See, they lead with their ass instead of their brain.
Sure.
You see?
Yeah.
You should put that aside. If this guy's teaching well, draws you money, put that shit aside.
Yep.
You know, but I got to give him a shout out. Of course, Richie Sorrentino, the king of credit, and our little business, goodtimesguaranteed.com live wrestling auction. Of course, Cameo, huge. ProWrestlingTees.com and the Facebook and all the other wrestling outlets. Of course, WrestlePro New Jersey. Wrestled my first ever hardcore match little over a year ago in Rahway, New Jersey. Barry Horowitz has never had a hardcore match. And the only thing that got me through it, I've watched others. I was in shape. I went 30 minutes with Joey Janela.
Wow.
You can catch it on YouTube. And half of that was a shoot.
That's obviously you came through the other side, or we wouldn't be speaking right now. But
Exactly.
at least you got to say that you did it.
And I was there all day. Flights were late.
Yeah.
I had, as soon as I landed, I didn't get to eat. I had to do almost an hour and a half a Canadian interview for a Canadian newspaper. And then when I was done with that, I went to the meet and greet table. When I was done with that, I was on last. I got in the ring, Rob, after 11. I'll tell you what, the only thing that saved me,
yeah.
the only thing that saved me, my hotel was 15, 20 minutes away, cleaned up. I got in that hotel. I took a shower for a half hour. That revived me. Ate some good, healthy food, got to sleep in, and the promoter bought me breakfast in the buffet in the hotel. Was beautiful, and my flight was late, and taking care of myself. That's what got me through there. But let me tell you something. That's standing around till the 12th match or 10th match on pavement. You got to keep on going and moving things. That's why you see on the NFL sideline, they're riding that bike.
Right,
you get stagnated. You start to seize up and tighten up. So I was grateful for that. And I did hardcore stuff here and there. Did certain things in South Florida with Sandman, but nothing to this degree.
Yeah.
I mean, I took a Randy Savage elbow off a 10-foot ladder, and I wasn't on a table. I was on a solid oak door that did not give.
Oh, boy.
You could hear the kid at ringside when he covered me. 1, 2, I kicked out. He's going to die.
It's pro wrestling, brother. It's pro wrestling.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't consider that it's a part of pro wrestling.
Of course.
Yeah. So is a Texas bull rope match, and so is a loser leave town or lights out match. Just a part of it. Just a part of it. I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, you can't have, like you said, you can't have, 15 technical matches. You got to have a little bit of everything.
No.
Yeah.
You got to have a little bit of everything.
Yeah. That's right.
And people like that.
It's a variety show for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's all my things. And if they ever legitimate promoters, they want to get in touch with me, they'll go through Richie and he'll screen them and whatnot. And that's how I've been doing. And just I'll never give up because I'm not a giving up person. My life isn't over. My career isn't over. But I'm still looking for, you do the seminars. They're cool.
Yeah.
You do this, you do that. But that coaching job has eluded me. That's just right up my alley. It's just right up my alley.
And you never know what's going to happen. The call could come tomorrow. You never know.
I mean, you're right. I've seen things like this happen.
Yep.
And let's see what happens. I'll still pursue. I mean, if there's an avenue to go down, I'm not going to bug somebody either. But if I do, at least I got the legs and the know-how and resume to bug somebody. Why are you bugging me? I want a friggin' job. That's why I think I can make a difference.
Yeah.
You want to give me a couple of month tryout? Go for it. I'll prove you wrong.
That's right. That's right.
Unless you just want to dick around with me and, oh, no, you're not in my, my deal or whatever. You're not one of me or one of my boys or something, which I don't agree. I just don't agree with that.
And I would hope that didn't exist. I mean, I know it does to an extent.
I thought it diminished, Rob.
Yeah.
It's still there. I can see it. I see it, Rob.
Yeah. Well,
And you know what? It's friggin' sad.
it is.
It's sad. It's wrong. But my biggest gripe of all of this plethora of all this hoo-ha and gaga and whatever you want to call it, it's called disrespecting me.
That's right. Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
disrespect Barry Horowitz. You'll find out
It's
the
just
hard way.
not, I don't deserve it.
Yeah. Why should you? Yeah, no. I mean, again, you were a model employee, honestly, compared to 90% of.
According to, I got an email last year, according from a fan, Jim Cornette says the same thing on his podcast about me.
Wow. Well, that's
Yeah,
nice.
you got to listen to that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke until I listened to it.
Well, I mean, he respects business, and people can call him crazy, and you could not agree with his opinions or politics, whatever. But he knows wrestling.
If you listen to him talk, the way he articulates and he tells you things, spot on.
Yeah, yeah.
Not everybody's right. You got differences, Rob.
Sure, sure.
I'm sure you experience it in podcasting and whatnot, but
yep.
For the most part, most of these people we're talking about, on a scale of 1 to 10, they're an 8.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Jim had a great mind. I mean, I watched him break down Hogan and Rock from WrestleMania, and he talked about things I never even think of.
I've worked for him in Smoky Mountain.
Yeah. Did you? Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I worked for almost every promotion, almost every single major promotion, except ECW.
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one you can't get back. But I'm sure you would have had fun there. Heyman's another guy that was great mind for the business, and they're still going today. I mean, that's how valued he is. But
I guess maybe I wrestled too much, or he didn't like me. Although he managed me in Memphis in Jerry Jarrett's territory.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I don't try to figure certain things out anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Tell me the truth. You're going to work me. You're going to tell a lot. I don't have time for that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't blame you.
I don't have time for it. Don't work a worker, please.
That's right.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
That's right. Well, Barry, it was a pleasure talking to you. This is one of my bucket
pleasure talking to you too, Rob.
I grew up in the Northeast. I live in Tennessee now with my wife, but I grew up in Connecticut.
I love Tennessee.
Yeah, we mentioned it off air. Yeah, real quick. I live in Murfreesboro, and you said you were familiar with the area. But what made you move to Tennessee?
Well, I moved to Tennessee because I was done with my deal in Florida.
Okay.
And I called Jerry Jarrett up because let me get this right. See, Jay Youngblood helped me get back into Florida, and then he may have helped me with Jerry Jarrett also. Gave me the number. I called up Jerry Jarrett from my house in Florida. And he told me, he says, I'll take you, move here. I had nothing to lose. This is my career.
Right.
And at the time, my wife and I were just married recently, newlyweds. And, I had a stepson and nothing holding us back. It was a good move.
Yeah.
Because I stayed there 10 years and I would have probably still been there. But my dad was dying in Florida. And I promised my mom I would move back to Florida and take care of her and be there with my father on his last days and his funeral.
Yeah.
So decided to stay here. The weather is really good for my body. I miss Tennessee because of the country music community. It's my second thing in life that I cherish besides working out, the gym and pro wrestling. And of course, everything else, UFC, the Olympics and all those great sports, but I love country music. I was in that #1 country music video for Joe Diffie in '94.
That's so
CMT's
cool.
Video and Song of the Year. It is so relevant. They had Post Malone and Hardy and Morgan Wallen. If you keep up with these guys, do the cover of that and John Deere Green. I'm going to say 3 months ago on the CMA Awards. I've got it on DVD. And they sang the hell out of it.
Yeah.
So he's still relevant. It's a shame he passed.
Yeah, it is.
I was at his shows. I've been backstage with him, been on his bus. I mean, he was a NASCAR fan, not a pro wrestling fan, but his lead guitar player was a pro wrestling fan.
We'll have to get into
I do miss Nashville. I miss the Summer Lights, the Fan Fest, the Opry, the streets, the food, and now it's quadrupled since I left. I lived in a small town now, which
Yeah.
I'm huge fan of. I'm every time I see Andy Griffith Mayberry, I tell my wife I could live there.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's my type of living. Now everybody knows you, but still,
Right.
you got a gym there. If you got to travel, it's a half-hour away. You're in the country, not the cement jungle. And I know there's crap all over the place, but I like Tennessee a lot. I actually bought a car in Murfreesboro and did shows and did a meet and greet there. I remember Lori Morgan was there and Sarah Evans. So yeah, I've met a lot of pretty cool people there, and I love Nashville. I love the Titans.
Yep.
I like the South too. I love Missouri. I love Alabama, Texas, all of those South. I like little southern towns.
And there's plenty of them here, and you probably wouldn't
Yep.
even recognize Murfreesboro or Nashville now.
Probably won't. You know
it's
who's
amazing.
from there? Excuse me. If I'm not mistaken, Chris Young is from there.
Yes. Yep. James Storm. There's several wrestlers that live in around this area too.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, I know that. Yeah. I think maybe Jeff Jarrett does live in Tennessee still.
He does. He's still in Hendersonville, as far as I know.
Hendersonville. There we go.
Yep.
I did promos at his dad's house back in the day. Hey, be at Jerry Jarrett's house for promos. Okay. Nice house. That was pretty fun to do promos in his living room.
I bet. Yeah, I bet.
A ballroom.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, if you ever get back this way, we can do lunch or
Oh,
just
definitely.
look me up,
We will connect. Definitely. Yeah, I miss Nashville. It's definitely my second home. I really, in my future, my parents are laid to rest in a veteran Jewish cemetery, and I don't think I'm allowed, because I wasn't a veteran, to be there with my parents. But the next best thing is to be buried in Nashville.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's a great area. I would never move back to the Northeast. It's miserable up there. I love it down here too. So.
Like Kane Brown says, bury me in Georgia. I say, bury me in Nashville.
Well, Barry, I appreciate it, brother. It was very, very nice to talk to you, and we'll definitely have you on. Maybe when your book comes out, we can get you back on the show. And
that would be great. That would be awesome. I just want to thank all my fans and appreciate everything they do and write me letters. And I have this little P.O. box. They send me stuff, and I handwrite everything. And I'm not working. I mean, I take the time, and I sign everything back for the last 20 years. So, and they also know, when Barry Horowitz, Mr. Technical, wins, it's real. When he loses, it's not.
Well, thank you, Barry. I appreciate it, brother. It was good talking to you.
Thank you so much, Rob. Have a good night. And enjoy RadMania and enjoy everything. And hopefully we'll get in touch and hook up again and have fun. We'll have a part 2. Heck, I could tell you stories that'll make your head spin.
I bet you could. I'm looking
Good
forward to
and
that.
bad.
That's right. All right, brother. Thanks, Barry.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, buddy. We'll talk
Take
to you
care.
later. You too. Well, there you go. The legendary Barry Horowitz. Man, what a great guy to talk to. And there's so much more we can get into. I'm glad that he has a book coming out. I can't wait to get into that. And we'll definitely have him on the show whenever that project comes out so we can promote that and put the book over. But man, I'm telling you, I've met a lot of cool people over the internet doing this for the last 6 years, and he's right up there at the top of the list. Just a true man's man, a gentleman, but he's confident. He knows his worth, and he still treats things like a shoot. And you got to give him credit for that. Just being a pro's pro, no matter what. He's almost 65 years old. He'll be 65 next week as we're recording this, and just a true professional, and that's hard to find nowadays. So thank you very much, Barry, for coming on. But I appreciate you guys being here, resurrecting RadMania, and it's been fun so far. See you tomorrow for day 4. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for listening to this episode of RTW Rewind. For all the latest news and announcements, please follow us on Twitter at RTW Brand. You can also follow Rad Rob at Rad Rob Gaming. You've been listening to RTW Rewind, exclusively here on the Rad Rob Radio Network.